Michael Jordan sees a boy playing alone at night, then realizes he used to be that kid. Before we get into the story, comment below where in the world you are watching from today, and if you like this story, don't forget to subscribe. It was just past midnight when the charity event finally ended. Michael sat in the back seat of a sleek black SUV, loosened tie draped around his neck, collar open. He wasn't talking. He rarely did after events like this, nights full of handshakes, cameras, and words that didn't mean much. The city outside was a blur, the streets lined with shadows and flickering neon. His driver, Carl, took a wrong turn, meant to cut through an old neighborhood near Southside. Michael noticed. He didn't say anything. He hadn't been here in years. Not since everything changed. They slowed at a red light. Then he heard it. A basketball. One bounce. A pause. Then another. Hollow. Sharp. Familiar. Michael leaned forward slightly, eyes narrowing as he scanned the night. There it was, a cracked court tucked between two buildings, barely lit by a single crooked streetlight. Faded paint, chain net, a rusted bench sagging on one side. And in the middle of it all, a boy. Alone. Michael didn't ask Carl to stop. He opened the door and stepped out without a word. The night air was cold, but not biting. The ball bounced again, tap, tap, thud. The kid was maybe 13. Thin, drenched in sweat. No headphones, no crowd, no phone filming him. Just him and the ball, repeating the same move over and over. Crossover. Drive. Pull up. Miss. He grabbed the ball before it rolled too far, wiped his hands on his shorts, and tried again. No celebration. No frustration. Just the grind. Michael stood by the gate, watching. The kid noticed him. Paused for a second. Blinked. Then went right back to it. No double take. No begging for a selfie. Just more reps. Michael crossed his arms. He didn't move. The rhythm of the boy's movements was jagged, raw but full of potential. There was something about his form, something wild and unrefined, but familiar. That reckless hunger. That look in his eyes like he was playing against ghosts. Michael knew that feeling. He remembered. Not the highlight reels. Not the rings. Not the champagne. He remembered the nights when no one showed up. The ones when he shot for hours because the pain didn't go away otherwise. That court back in Wilmington. The silence. The grind. And he remembered the emptiness, too. The boy yelled out after missing another jumper. Punched the chain net. The metal clanged. He hunched over, hands on knees, breathing hard. Michael stepped forward. The kid turned sharply, catching sight of the figure moving toward him. You lost? The boy asked, squinting through the dim light. Michael shook his head. No. I was just watching. Why? Because I used to be you. The boy frowned. You don't know me. Michael smiled faintly. Maybe not. But I know that sound. What sound? Michael pointed. That one. The ball, the net. The breathing. That frustration. It's louder than any arena when you know what it means. The kid stared, confused. Then something shifted in his face. He squinted again. Recognition clicked. Wait, no way. Michael gave a small nod. You're Michael Jordan. A silence settled between them. The boy looked down at his shoes, suddenly unsure of himself. I'm not trying to be like you, he said quickly, defensive. Good, Michael replied. Be better. The kid didn't respond. What's your name? Trey. How long you been out here? Since my mom left for her shift. Around 8. Michael glanced at the chain net. A breeze tugged it gently. You always play alone? Yeah. Don't need anyone. Sometimes you do. People don't show up. Michael nodded slowly. They didn't for me either. Trey sat on the court, legs crossed, exhausted but alert. Why are you here? I was just driving by. Heard the ball. Couldn't ignore it. That's it? That's it. They sat in silence for a few seconds. Trey picked up the ball and stood. You gonna tell me how to shoot or something? Michael shook his head. No. Not tonight. Why not? Because you're not ready to listen yet. Trey scowled. Man, forget this. I don't need some speech. I didn't come to preach. Trey paused. Michael started walking toward the exit. But I might come back tomorrow. You serious? Michael kept walking. You'll find out. Then he was gone. Trey stared at the gate long after it closed. Looked down at the ball in his hands. Looked up at the streetlight above. He didn't know what to make of it. Maybe it was a dream. Maybe it was real. But something about the court felt different now. He dribbled once. Took one more shot. And this time, it went in. Trey didn't say a word about the man he saw that night. Not to his mom. Not to anyone at school. There was no point. They'd either call him a liar or turn it into a joke. He figured if it was real, the guy wouldn't come back. Legends don't hang around broken courts. But the next night, MJ was there. Same spot. Same bench. Same calm looked like he belonged in every court on earth, no matter how cracked it was. Trey showed up late on purpose, pretending he didn't care. He didn't bring it up. Neither did Michael. The only sound was the dribble of the ball and the hiss of the wind through the fence. Trey ran drills. Layups. Jumper after jumper. He missed more than he made, but he didn't stop. Not once. MJ watched quietly, arms crossed, never interrupting. He didn't yell, didn't correct, didn't even clap. Just observed. It messed with Trey's head. Finally, Trey stopped, panting. You just gonna stare all night? Michael stood up, slow and steady. You want feedback or sympathy? Trey hesitated. Feedback. Good. First, your left foot's trailing on the jab step. That's costing you momentum. Second, your follow-through dies halfway. Trey blinked. That's it? That's enough for now. Michael walked away again. It became a pattern. Night after night, MJ returned. No camera. No media. No entourage. Just a man, a bench, and a kid who didn't know if he was being trained or tested. One night, Trey didn't miss a single shot in a row for 5 minutes. He looked over proudly, but MJ didn't react. That burned. What? Trey said, frustrated. You saw that. I saw it. And? Consistency's only good if it holds under pressure. Trey threw the ball at MJ's feet. It bounced once and stopped. If you're gonna just sit there, you could at least act like you give a damn. Michael walked over, picked up the ball, and handed it back. Don't play for applause. That's not how you win. Trey took the ball, chewing on the words. Feels like I can't win with you either. You're not supposed to yet. That night, Trey didn't sleep. He lay on the couch, staring at the ceiling. His mom came home late again, shoes soaked from work, face tired. She kissed his forehead and didn't ask questions. He got up before sunrise, hit the court before school. MJ wasn't there that morning, but the word stayed. During gym, Trey outplayed everyone. Controlled. Sharp. Ice cold. His coach watched closely. You've been working, he muttered. That was all he said. 2 nights later, Trey opened up. They were sitting on the court after a long set of drills. Trey leaned back, sweat clinging to his shirt, chest rising and falling fast. My dad left 2 years ago, Trey said suddenly. Said he had things to chase. Never came back. Michael didn't flinch. I was cut from varsity sophomore year. Thought my world ended. Yeah, but you made it. Only because I kept showing up when no one else believed it mattered. Trey nodded, but his voice turned bitter. The school's team doesn't care. I'm not tall enough. Not strong enough. Not flashy enough. They let me try out because they had to. I'm just filling warm-up lines. Michael didn't argue. Just looked at him. You can't control coaches. Or critics. You can only control the work. That's not enough sometimes. It is if you let it change you, not them. They sat in silence for a long time. Then Trey asked, "Why me?" Michael stood up. Because I know the sound of a kid playing against something no one else can see. Later that week, some older kids came to the court. One of them, Dre, used to be a local legend until he got into trouble and flunked out. Now he roamed the blocks with a pack and a chip on his shoulder. Dre smirked when he saw Trey. Still out here chasing ghosts? Trey didn't reply. Dre grabbed the ball. Let me show you how real ballers do it. He took a few lazy shots, then started trash talking. You think you're going somewhere? You ain't even JV. Trey stayed calm. Michael was there that night, just like always, but didn't step in. Dre got in Trey's face, shoved him. Say something. Trey didn't move. Just stared straight through him. You scared? Dre laughed. No, Trey said. I just don't play your game. Dre scoffed, tossed the ball aside, and walked off. Later, Trey turned to MJ. Why didn't you say anything? Michael nodded. Because you passed the test. What test? Silence under pressure. You let your work talk. School practices got rougher. Coaches noticed the change in Trey's movement. He was faster, sharper, more locked in. Still benched during games, but the whispers were growing. Something's gotten into that kid. No one knew about the nightly lessons. No one would have believed it if he told them. One afternoon after practice, Trey sat alone. Coach Walker walked over. You ever think about transferring? The coach asked. Trey looked up. Why? You've got something. But you won't get the reps here. Where would I go? The coach tossed him a flyer. A tryout for a regional youth showcase, invite only, elite scouts in attendance. Trey blinked. I'm not on this list. I know someone who got you on. Don't ask who. Trey didn't. He folded the flyer and slid it into his pocket. That night at the court, MJ was already there, dribbling. Trey tossed him the ball. You called in a favor? I opened a door. Walking through it's up to you. Trey nodded slowly. Michael spun the ball once in his hand, then passed it back. Let's go to work. The gym where the showcase tryouts were held wasn't anything fancy, but the players inside didn't need luxury. These were the hungry ones, kids who could dunk in traffic, shoot lights out, or move like they were born with a ball in hand. Trey stood off to the side, stretching, quiet. He didn't know anyone there. Didn't have gear with his name on it. No team hoodie. Just him and his beat-up shoes. The scouts were already talking about the taller kids, the ones with handles like water and wingspans like umbrellas. Trey knew it. He felt it. But he also knew why he was there. He closed his eyes, thought of the court. Thought of the chain net. Thought of MJ watching in silence. When it was his turn to scrimmage, he didn't hesitate. Didn't talk. Just moved. Quick first step. Smart passes. Aggressive defense. One sequence had him steal the ball, push the break, then dish out a no-look pass for a bucket. The room got quieter. By the end, a few coaches nodded. One scout even scribbled something down. It wasn't flashy. But it was real. After the drills, he stepped outside. His hands were shaking, not from nerves, but from everything riding on this one day. That night, MJ wasn't at the court. Trey waited until midnight. Then walked home with his head down, unsure what the silence meant. The next day, he got the email. He was in. Full scholarship to an elite development academy across the city. Transportation covered. Gear provided. All he had to do was show up and prove he belonged. He ran straight to the court, hoping MJ would be there. But it was empty again. 3 nights passed. No sign of him. On the 4th night, Trey showed up late. He didn't bring a ball. Just walked to the bench and sat down. "You disappear when I make it," he muttered to no one. Behind him, a voice answered. "You think this is making it?" Trey turned around, startled. MJ stepped out from the shadows, hands in his pockets. "You didn't show," Trey said. "I did. Just not when you expected." "Why?" "Because you had to learn to stand without leaning on me." Trey kicked a rock across the court. "So what now?" "Now you go where the pressure lives. And you learn to breathe in it." The academy was a different world. Clean courts. Trainers with clipboards. Teammates who played like machines. Trey struggled the first week. Missed open looks. Got out-muscled. Coaches didn't yell, they just rotated him out. He was used to being overlooked. But this was different. Now he wanted to be seen. One teammate, Wes, a tall shooting guard with an ego to match his range, made it clear early on. "You're a charity case. Just here for the hustle drills." Trey didn't respond. But it burned. During a scrimmage, Wes threw an alley-oop off the backboard to himself with Trey under the rim. Everyone laughed. Trey walked off the court and didn't come back for the second half. That night, he returned to his old neighborhood court. He sat under the flickering light, waiting. MJ showed up 30 minutes later. "I messed up," Trey said. "Lost my cool." "You didn't mess up. You remembered where you came from." "I wanted to fight him." "That's not your job. Your job is to make it undeniable." "How?" Michael walked to the center of the court, picked up a ball, and passed it to him. "Let's fix your footwork." They worked for hours. No small talk. Just sweat and rhythm. After that night, Trey stopped reacting and started refining. Wes kept talking. But Trey kept producing. First in the gym. Last to leave. Taking charges. Diving for loose balls. Never flinching. Coaches noticed. One day, the head trainer pulled him aside. "You're not the biggest. Not the fastest. But you know how to keep the machine running. That's rare." They bumped him up to the starting rotation for an exhibition game. Wes didn't like it. During practice, he threw a hard pass at Trey's face. Trey caught it without blinking. Coach blew the whistle. "What's your problem, Wes?" "Nothing. Just testing the golden boy." Coach pulled them both. "You want to test something? Do it in the game." The next night, Trey lit it up. Not with points, but with presence. Stopped 3 fast breaks. Hit clutch free throws. Set screens. Moved without the ball. The announcer said, "That kid Trey? He's glue." But after the game, Wes cornered him. "You think you're better than me now?" Trey didn't answer. Wes shoved him. Trey stepped back. "I'm not here to beat you," Trey said. "I'm here to beat the clock." Wes stared, then walked off. That night, Trey got a call. Unknown number. He answered. "You held your ground," MJ's voice said. "You watching me now?" "Always." There was a pause. "I'm proud of you," MJ added. Trey didn't say anything at first. Then he replied softly, "Thanks." But the next challenge was around the corner, and it would be the one to break everything wide open. Because when Trey got home from practice the next day, his mom was sitting on the couch, eyes red. "The rent went up again," she said. "And they're saying we got 30 days. Trey's hands clenched. "I can send money." She shook her head. "The academy pays for your meals and travel. That's it. And I'm not letting you drop out." Trey walked out the door and didn't stop until he got to the court. He sat in the middle, under the streetlight, fighting back tears. Then he heard it. A car door closing. MJ was there. "You ever play for something bigger than yourself?" Trey asked. Michael nodded. "Every game." "Then help me. Please." MJ looked at him long and hard. "Okay. But this next play, it's gonna hurt." 3 days after Trey's mom told him about the eviction notice, he showed up at practice early, but his mind was stuck on bills and bank notices. The court felt different now, like every drill was tied to something more than playing time. Coach noticed. "Your feet are fast, but your head's somewhere else." Trey just nodded. He didn't know how to explain it without sounding like he was breaking. Later that evening, MJ met him at the court again. "I got someone," MJ said. "He owes me a favor. Quiet guy. Works in real estate. Might help your mom stay where she is." Trey looked up, jaw tight. "You serious?" "I don't make fake promises." Trey felt his chest unclench for the first time in days. "Thank you." "Don't thank me yet. He'll help, but you gotta hold up your end. Stay focused. Don't break." That same week, Trey was invited to a regional tournament. Big names. Big scouts. ESPN affiliated. Coach Walker pulled him aside again. "Don't let this distract you. Play your game." Trey nodded. But 2 days before the game, Trey walked into the locker room and saw something that made his stomach flip. A video. Playing on someone's phone. Him and MJ. At the cracked court. Low quality, grainy, but recognizable. MJ passing the ball, Trey nodding, the two of them working in the shadows. "Yo, is that real?" someone said. "Is Jordan, like, training you or something?" Wes stood across the room, arms folded. Smirking. Trey froze. "Where'd you get that?" "Does it matter?" Wes said. "Crazy how someone like you gets handpicked." Coach stormed in and shut it down fast. "Phones off. Focus up." But the damage was done. Whispers followed Trey to the court. Reporters showed up at the tournament. Rumors flew, MJ's new project, the chosen one, backdoor scholarship. During warm-ups, Trey couldn't shake it. His hands trembled every time he touched the ball. MJ was in the crowd, sitting high up, out of reach. First quarter started. Trey missed 2 open looks, lost a rebound, then fouled trying to make up for it. Coach benched him. On the sidelines, Trey kept his head down. He could feel the weight, expectations, the whispers, everything pressing on his chest. Then came the moment. Third quarter. Down by 5. One of the starters rolled his ankle. Coach hesitated, then turned to Trey. "You ready?" Trey nodded, but inside, he wasn't sure. Back on the floor, everything felt loud. Even the ball felt heavier. Then he heard it, one voice. "Breathe." He didn't look up, but he knew. MJ had stood. One word. That was all he needed. Next play, Trey stripped the ball clean, sprinted coast to coast, and finished with a smooth finger roll. Crowd roared. But he didn't smile. He locked in. He played like someone chasing more than a stat sheet. Took charges, fought for rebounds, directed traffic. No highlight plays, just winning plays. Final minutes. Tie game. Trey got the ball with the shot clock down. He faked once, drove, pulled up just inside the arc, and buried it. The gym exploded. But he just turned and got back on defense. They won by 2. Trey barely made it to the locker room before reporters swarmed. Cameras flashing, mics in his face. How long have you been training with Jordan? Is he grooming you for the league? Trey stepped back, overwhelmed. MJ appeared at the doorway. Quiet. Calm. Like a shadow. He pulled Trey aside. You don't answer them. But you don't owe them anything. You already gave them your game. Keep your silence. It's power. That night, MJ took him for a walk. No gym. No court. Just streets. You handled it well, MJ said. I almost broke. But you didn't. Trey looked down. Why did you help with the rent? Because I've been there. I saw my mom cry over late bills while I was out chasing a dream. They walked in silence a little longer. Then MJ stopped. Here's what you're not ready for, he said. You think this is about basketball. It's not. It's about who you become when no one's clapping. When the cameras leave. When you lose. Trey swallowed hard. What if I can't keep it together? Then you fall. But you don't stay down. That's the rule. A few days later, Coach called him into his office. You've got interest, he said, sliding a few envelopes across the desk. Division I schools. Real offers. Trey didn't touch them. Can I ask you something, Coach? Shoot. Do you think I got here because of MJ? Coach leaned back. I think he saw a spark in you. But he didn't lace your shoes. You did. That night, Trey went back to the court again. It was raining. He stood under the streetlight, soaked. Ball in hand. Alone. MJ didn't come. He waited an hour. Still no one. Finally, he shot one jumper. Swish. Then another. Mississippi. He chased it down. No applause. No voice. Just him. He smiled. Because for the first time in a long time, he wasn't waiting for someone else to believe. It had been 5 years. Trey stood in front of the same cracked court where it all began. The chain net was rustier, the backboard more worn, and the streetlight above still flickered like it had a heartbeat. Some things didn't change. But Trey had. He was 20 now. A rising star in college ball. Projected first-round pick. Scouts said he had intangibles and leadership. But they didn't know where it came from. They didn't know about the nights. The silence. The man who taught him to play when no one was watching. The court was empty. No cameras. No crowd. Just him. He bounced the ball once. The sound echoed. It took him back to when he had nothing but a dream and worn-out sneakers. And then he heard it. Another rhythm. Lighter. Sloppy. A kid. Trey looked across the court. A boy, maybe 10, was practicing behind the gate. Shirt too big, form all over the place, but trying hard. Trey smiled and called out, "You waiting for someone?" The boy stopped, startled. "No. Just shooting." "You want to shoot on the real hoop?" The kid hesitated. "I'm not good." Trey walked to the gate, opened it, and nodded. "Neither was I." The boy stepped in, wide-eyed. "Are you Trey Rivers?" "Yeah. My brother watches your highlights every night." Trey passed him the ball. "Then let's give him something new." They shot around for a while. Trey didn't coach much. Just played. Let the moment breathe. Eventually, the kid sat down, tired and smiling. "Thanks," he said. "No one ever lets me shoot with them." Trey looked down. "They will. One day." "Did you have someone help you?" Trey's smile faded a little. He sat next to the kid and looked at the sky. "I did. But he didn't teach me plays. He taught me how to stand. Is he famous? Trey nodded. Yeah. You'd know the name. Where is he now? Trey looked at the streetlight. I don't know. Haven't seen him in a long time. But I think he's still watching. That night, Trey went home and finally opened the old wooden box he kept locked since freshman year. Inside was a pair of beat-up black Jordans. Not brand new. Scuffed. Faded. They had been a gift, no note, no announcement, just left at the court one morning after MJ stopped showing up. His size. His style. He knew. Taped under the sole was a folded card. He'd never opened it. Hands trembling, he pulled it off and read. You don't owe me anything. Just show up for someone else one day. MJ. Trey sat back in his chair, heart heavy in the best way. He understood now. It was never about passing on a drill. It was about passing on the fire. A few weeks later, the NBA draft came. Trey wore a simple gray suit. No chain. No flash. Just clean lines and calm eyes. The commissioner read his name at pick 11. Trey stood, hugged his mom, and walked the stage without a tear. Not because it wasn't emotional, but because he'd already cried when it mattered. Alone. Under that streetlight. In his speech, he thanked his family, his coaches, and one line stood out. I was trained by someone who told me to never chase applause, just the truth. Reporters tried digging. No one could confirm MJ had trained him. There were no official records, no photos. Only that grainy clip that surfaced years ago. MJ never commented. Some said it was all made up. Trey never corrected them. He didn't need to. 3 years into his NBA career, Trey returned to the court again. Quiet night. Hoodie up. No media. Just memories. He stood in the middle. Closed his eyes. I did it, he whispered. A breeze passed through. The chain net swayed. Nothing else. Then a car slowed on the road nearby. He turned. Just a black SUV. Windows tinted. It didn't stop. Just paused, then rolled away. But he knew. He knew who had been there. And that was enough. The next morning, Trey signed off on a project to renovate courts across the country, starting with that one. No fanfare. No ribbon cutting. Just cement, nets, and hope. He named the initiative the Midnight Bounce. Years later, the kid he played with that night, Jalen, would become a star in his own right. And during his Hall of Fame induction, Jalen told a story. There was a night I was 10 years old, playing alone. And Trey Rivers let me shoot with him. He never gave me a speech. Just gave me time. That changed my life. Trey was in the crowd that night. Still calm. Still quiet. And way in the back, standing under the shadows of the exit sign, was MJ. He didn't stay long. Didn't wait for applause. He just smiled once, then turned and walked away. Like he always did. Because the job was never about being seen. It was about seeing. And making sure no kid with a dream ever bounced a ball in the dark alone again.